Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Fabulous with Fabio, the talk show that reviews fabulous people and show us how we can be fabulous ourselves. I'm always talking to people that I know can handle the situation. There's no editing, no post-production, no Hollywood production. This is raw and authentic as life is. And my guest today is Joe Frigolette. And I'm going to talk to him and you're going to know how fabulous this human being is and how we can learn from it, from from this experience, from Joe. Joe, state your name so everybody can know.
Hey everybody, like Fabio said, my name is Joe Frigolette, and I'm excited to be on the show today with you, Fabio. I don't know if there's anybody that's more fabulous than you, but I will do my best today to live up to that.
Remember, the show is fabulous with Fabio. So you are the fabulous one. I'm just trying to be fabulous by interviewing fabulous people. Joe, thank you so much for being here today. Man, you know that I love you. You're the type of human being that I really admire and respect because you have learned to be comfort in your own skin, right?
Yeah.
So many people out there just live on the facade. They're trying to pretend to be someone they're not, but
Mm.
you became one of my heroes because you really proved that it is possible to be yourself, your true self, and feel happy about it and feel confident about it and really be an inspiration to other people. So, Joe, tell me how you became to be where you are now. This person. What happened to you? What was the insight? What was the breakthrough that allowed you to become this fabulous, comfortable in my own skin human being?
Man, wow. Well, first of all, thank you for the compliments, Fabio. That means a lot to hear that coming from you and somebody that I respect so much that I've been able to lead by example for you and to set that tone. So that means a lot. I really appreciate that. The question of what happened to me for me to be so comfortable being myself. Man, there's so many things I can say there. I don't even know where to start with that question. I think it's a the word that comes to mind is surrender. Total surrender. And there's a lot of different directions that we can go and that I perhaps want to go with this. But first I'll say this. I was not always comfortable being myself. There was a while there where I tried to be somebody that I tried to project an image of who I wanted people to view me as, but not who I actually was.
Hmm.
And I see this happen a lot where we put out a facade of who we want to be, and that person's different than who we actually are deep down inside. And when people interact with somebody like that, they can sense it, right? Like the best person in the world that projects this image and puts on this mask, this facade, people that interact with that person, they can feel it. They can
Hmm.
sense it. As much as the person projecting doesn't want to admit that and they want to think that they're really good at putting on this mask, they're not fooling anybody at the end of the day, right? We can sense it deep down.
Yeah, and just to add to that, and people doing that, people faking until they make it, right? People put in that facade, they really are delusional because they believe they're fooling everybody.
Right.
But we, more and more, we have been trained to identify that farce, right? That facade, because especially with technology, with so many things going on and so many technology available to fake things, we became trained to identify authenticity versus facade.
Right.
So, yeah, go on explaining how you became this so self-confident and being yourself. But you just touched the point that everybody can relate to, because I believe everybody watching this or listening to this, one in a certain point of life, they try to be somebody they're not, or they're still doing it without
Yeah.
realizing that it's a lost game. You cannot win this game anymore, right? So it is important to find a way to your true self as fast as we can. Go on,
Yeah.
please.
Yes, absolutely. Because And there's this adage of fake it till you make it, fake it till you become it. People come up with different versions of that saying, and it's all the same sentiment at the end of the day. And I understand why that is talked about out there. But at the end of the day, it's anybody that is that goes down that path, it ends up being a fool's errand ultimately, because
Mm.
it's living a life that's not in congruence, and that leads to dissatisfaction, that leads to lack of fulfillment, that leads to, like we said, people picking up and sensing that incongruence, and it's not a recipe for success or peace at the end of the day. It could lead to success, and I think it's led a lot of people to material success, but not inner peace.
And
And and
yeah,
I
and
would argue that the inner peace is more valuable than the external material success.
and we see lots of examples, right? So many people financially successful, but drowning themselves into alcohol or drugs or whatever, because they can live with themselves, right? Because they know they have been faking something, they have been pretending to be someone, and they have to keep on with that facade. They cannot be themselves because they have projected that image that they believe is the reason for their success. So they are trapped into this prison. They need to continue with the facade, with the lie, because they are afraid they're going to lose everything if they become themselves, right? So it's so damaging to the soul, and they will never reach true success through that path.
Exactly. Yeah. And we see it all the time. But what I would say for me is, and I mentioned the moment of surrender, of letting go to something greater than me,
Hmm.
letting go to a power, a force that's beyond me,
Hmm.
relinquishing it. And when we understand that there's somebody that's watching and listening to everything that we do and can sense when we're out of alignment, then it takes the responsibility off of our own shoulders, and it puts things into a different perspective. Like, if here's something to ponder on for your audience. If How different would your actions be if you knew that somebody was always watching you? Even in the moments when you think you're alone and you're
Hmm.
in your room by yourself, if you knew that somebody was watching you, how would that change your actions on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, yeah.
And that's what happened with me, right? It's this understanding that God is always watching. He's always observing every step that we take, every word that we say, every thought that we think. And at this point in my journey, I am I'm not worried about what man thinks or says about me in any capacity. I'm only worried about what God thinks and says about me, because that's the only thing that matters. It's my relationship with him. It's not my relationship with another man, because
Yeah.
men can be deceiving.
And just to help our audience to really absorb that in the right way, right? We're not saying, because many people have different religions and so on. So one important thing to understand is that you're not alone, right? And when you say it's not, you take responsibility out of your shoulder, you're not saying that you're not responsible. You're just saying that you're not alone, right? You're not in control of every aspect of your life. And the fact that God gave us free will, right? He gave us the freedom to believe in God or not, but at the same time, He gave us conscience, right? So there's always someone watching. If you don't believe in God, maybe your conscience is always there, because with free will, you also God conscious. So you know what you're doing, you know what you're thinking, you know what you're pretending to be, and you know you're not yourself when you're doing that. So there's always someone or something divine or your conscious watching what you're doing, what you're thinking. So stop pretending. That's the main message here. Be yourself so you can become the best version of yourself. And this is not cliche, this is real deal here. So if you really be who you are and accept that, there's a reason for you to be different from everybody else, right? 8 billion people on the planet, and there's not one single person the same as you. So
Right.
there's a reason for that. You being unique means you can be yourself and still be successful and grow and evolve and accomplish this inner peace, right? That I'm here, I'm okay, I'm content, I'm happy with myself because I know there's a reason for me to be me. I don't need to be somebody else, right? This is surrender.
Exactly. It's letting go of the outcome and enjoying the process,
Yeah.
enjoying the journey along the way. I've heard Jordan Peterson say this a few times, like a lot of times we find ourselves getting caught in these white lies. We we manipulate the language that we use and we manipulate the perception that we put out there because we want to manipulate the outcome ultimately. And a lot of the times we do this subconsciously. But Jordan Peterson says if all you ever did was tell the truth, what an adventure life would be. What an adventure would unfold every single day.
Hmm.
Because it takes the responsibility off of controlling the outcome and just seeing what happens.
Hmm.
Just seeing, what adventures life pours at you every single day by just being honest, by just telling the truth, by just being yourself.
Yeah.
And there's a big weight that gets lifted when you can operate in that type of a belief rather than trying to control each and every little detail. And look, I used to do that. Don't get me wrong, right? I used to be very controlling of my own outcomes because it served me well for a long time. It served me well for 30 years of like planning out every little detail and trying my hardest to get the reality to align with that. But it was exhausting
Yeah.
and it it broke me down ultimately.
It is
And
exhausting. Yeah.
it was burning me out. So to be able to let go and let God and watch the adventures unfold is so much more peaceful and it's a lot more fun as well.
Yeah. Yeah, because life becomes a discovery, right? Not a task anymore.
Exactly. I like that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful when you let go and you understand that if you're doing your very best to serve people around you, to be useful, life will unfold in front of your eyes in a beautiful way and give you more rewards than you can ever expect. But if you
Mm.
try to control everything, you're only human. There's so much you can control and there's so much you can imagine. But when you let go and let God, as you said, you can experiment and discover things that you could never imagine, and you can be surprised by life. So every day becomes really a gift because you're receiving things that maybe you're not even expecting, right?
Right. And it opens your eyes rather than being so tunnel visioned and narrow focused on a specific outcome,
Yeah,
you can actually see what other possibilities are out there for you.
yeah.
And a lot of times there might be possibilities that are not what you wanted or not what you would have imagined that are far more greater for you than anything that you could have hoped for.
Hmm.
And I heard this from Tony Robbins, trading expectations for appreciation. Expectations are the quickest way to disappointment.
Hmm.
We expect things to be a certain way, or we expect a certain outcome, or we expect a person to behave in a specific way towards us, with us, and around us.
Hmm.
Anytime that any of those things are a little bit off, a little bit different from our expectations, we get disappointed.
Yeah. And that
But
goes for everything, man. Even in negotiations, when I'm training my my clients to negotiate, I say, listen, accept everything that comes to your direction. Accept everything that comes because if you are expecting your client to say this or to say that or to act in a certain way and they don't, you're gonna be lost. You're gonna be desperate, and you're gonna start talking like crazy, trying to control the narrative, right? But if you accept everything that comes into your direction, you deal with that, you appreciate everything, and you learn from it. It's a really a true conversation. It's not a negotiation or a dispute anymore. You're collaborating, right?
Right. And then it allows you to appreciate the reality
Hmm.
that's presented to you. And you see the world in a whole different way.
Uh, let's go into goals, right? Because since I started studying the science of true success, I know that successful people, they have dreams and goals, but there's a different approach to goals, right? I have learned that when people have like, I want to make $1 million, right? $1 million. This is a financial goal, right? And they tend to be very stressed and very disappointed when they don't get to $1 million and very frustrated and they
Yeah.
resent themselves and start resenting their clients or their family, whatever. Oh, you didn't support me, whatever, right? They start blaming other people because, or the world or the economy. They start blaming everybody around them and even themselves for not achieving $1 million, right? But true successful people, they have other types of goals. They may have some material goals like I want to move to a better place, I want to have a better car or something like that. But most of all, they have like become goals. I want to become this kind of father. I want to become this kind of profession. I want to become this kind of person. I want to do this kind of thing. I want to serve this kind of clients. So truly successful people, as I have studied since 1982, they have this more noble goals and dreams about becoming, about serving, about uh, um, doing something of value, than instead of just having a numerical goal. Do you agree with that?
100%. Yeah. Because if you focus on the money, it's never going to be enough. Right. We see these stories play out all the time of people that have all the money in the world and they just want more. And it's never enough. So when you focus on, I love that. When you focus on becoming, then the rest is given to you,
Yeah,
even the things that you don't ask for.
yeah. I have learned that if you just focus on money, money become the way to measure yourself. So if you don't have enough, you're not good enough. But if you focus on becoming and serving, even if you serve just one person today, you are already growing and achieving your goal. And if you become a little better today, you are already achieving your goal. So this feeling of achieving my goals every day grows my self-confidence and my belief in myself and my belief in God that I'm not alone, that I'm moving forward. And that grows and grows and grows and gives me all the energy I need to keep moving forward and dealing with my obstacles and my difficulties and keep growing and overcoming everything and feeling happy about myself because I'm always moving forward because I'm becoming, I'm serving, I'm being useful. Does that make sense?
100%. Because you said it is thinking about what kind of a person do I want to be?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of a businessman do I want to be? What kind of a brother do I want to be? What kind of a son? What kind of a husband? What kind of a father? What kind of a leader?
Mm-hmm.
And when you focus on that, then the rest comes naturally, right? Because you if you live with integrity and you live with honesty and you live in alignment and with congruence, then success is an inevitable byproduct of those things. You don't have to focus on it. You don't have to stress about it. You when you develop the skills of somebody that is resourceful, then you can be put into any situation. We were talking about this last week actually, of
Yeah.
the what is a purple unicorn? A purple unicorn isn't somebody that pigeonholes themselves into a box and they find the right box to put themselves into. It's somebody that can be dropped into any situation in any place in the world and succeed and find a way to strive and to rise to the top. And it's a way of being and living and believing. It's not a matter of, how many material resources have you accumulated or could you accumulate?
Yeah. And more, Joe, I see, in the world we live in now, we have so many material things, right? We have so many tools and skills, and we have so many equipment and resources, that will not make a difference, actually. More and more we see that we have everything we can have, but we need more people we can trust.
100%.
So when we become this kind of human being that people can trust because they know we are authentic, we are transparent, we are the real deal, we are trustworthy, we are, you know, the people that are always willing to serve and add value, when they perceive us as authentic, congruent, and willing to serve and add value, they want to work with us. They want to collaborate with us. They want to be part of our lives. So we attract the right people. We attract the right clients, and we attract the right fortune, right?
Mhm.
Which is having true friends and people wanting to collaborate with you to make a positive difference in this world. Am I being too philosophical here, or too poetic, or do you believe I'm on the right track here, Joe?
I think you're on the right track. And I would say I think it's all philosophical and spiritual. That's everything. Then the re and I don't know how the audience is going to respond to this, but maybe they need to hear this. But I believe that 9 times out of 10, or maybe even 99 times out of 100, business problems are personal spiritual problems that manifest themselves in the business.
Mm,
To your point, there's always a system, there's always a strategy, there's always a script that you can use. But if deep down you're not aligned and you're not in tune spiritually, then it doesn't matter what script you say or what strategy you pull out or what your PowerPoint looks like or your marketing looks like, because people will sense it.
mhm.
They'll pick up on that. So it's, I think what's important is that you can't let money be your master. But at the same time, you can't ignore money.
Mhm.
It's a resource that can be used for good or for evil. And it can hurt you or it can help you. So whenever we're stewarding resources, stewarding money, if we're in alignment, then we can use it as a tool. If we're
Yeah,
not in alignment, then it will rule us and it will control us and it will get us to do things that we otherwise wouldn't be proud of and we wouldn't see ourselves doing. So we need to be bigger than the money.
yeah. I like to say that we are not here to make money. We are here to make a difference. But when we make a difference, we make blessed money, right?
Right.
So we feel good about the money we make. And one analogy that maybe will help our audience to understand what you said about strategies don't matter if you have the right foundation, right? Deep inside you're twisted. It is like a building, right? Or building a skyscraper. So if you don't have strong foundations, everything can collapse, right? But if you have strong foundations, then that building will be tall and strong and will last generations. So yes, strategies will help, skills will help, everything will help, tools, equipment will help if you use them on top of a strong foundation of integrity and congruence and the right values, right? So if you have this strong foundation that people perceive you as a trustworthy person, someone they can rely on, then of course all your strategists can rely on your foundation and they can endure, the test of time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Like the strategies are helpful. Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but you have the right foundation to put the strategies on top of, or else it's a ticking time bomb.
Okay. Now please share with us, Joe, three main lessons on top of everything we have said already. Three main lessons you learned throughout your life that made you realize everything we've been talking about. What happened, or what was the main lesson out of that situation? You don't need to share the situations if you don't want to, but share with us the main lessons you have learned that helped you have this clarity you have right now.
Very good question. Let me think on that for a second, because there's been many moments.
Yeah, it's hard to select three, right?
Um, so I'll say that with the money, you see a lot of successful people that have a lot of money, but they're not at peace.
Mhm,
And they have the material wealth and resources, but then they start exploring other things to fill some missing void that's deep
mhm,
down.
mhm,
And we see this with celebrities, we see this with athletes, we see this with musicians, right? They acquire a large amount of wealth in a short amount of time for what seems like relatively low effort, although there's a lot of work behind the scenes that we don't see.
mhm,
And then they go astray somewhere along the lines. And I've experienced this personally, right? Where I was at a point in my life where I was the most financially successful. I was doing better than all my friends, better than all my peers, and I thought I was on top of the world. My ego got in the way, and I thought I was untouchable, Fabio. And I was, driving around in this world thinking that nothing could tear me down. And shortly after that moment is when everything came crashing down, is when I got humbled.
mhm,
In, in a moment of extreme frustration and disappointment and anxiety and worry, and it's like everything came crashing. Everything was at its peak, and then it all came crashing down. My finances, my physical health, my relationships, my business, you name it, went from peak, you know, peak to valley. And in that moment is when I had the realization that what got me to the peak was me, believing in me and taking complete responsibility and control over everything and all the outcomes. But when I was at my lowest, I couldn't dig myself out of that. I couldn't lift myself out of that hole anymore. And I got to keep bringing it back to the spiritual, where when I was at my lowest is when God lifted me up. And he gave me the reassurance of, Joe, I will restore your peace. I will restore your strength, and I will give you hope for the future if you just trust me and follow me. I said, okay, I have no other choice. And I've seen this happen with other people as well, where God will break you and leave you in a place or put you in a place where you're so beaten and broken down, where you can't lift yourself up anymore. The only way out is to give it to him, and he will lift you so that you give him all the glory. And that's been my experience. That's been my journey. And that's why it comes down to not focusing on the money anymore, but focusing on being the right person. And that's where it comes down to not controlling all the outcomes, but surrendering it to the Lord and just seeing what happens, seeing what adventure plays out every single day, because I know that his plans for me are great, far greater than anything that I could have ever come up with for myself. And I just have to have trust and faith that he's going to lead me on this journey to wherever that's meant to be. And I know, and I have the reassurance that that's going to be impactful for the masses, for more people, right? And you said this, it's not about money, it's about impact. It's about purpose, right?
mhm,
If I can, you hear a lot of people that will talk about like, oh, they want to change the world. right? It's like, okay, do you want to change 8 billion people? Right? And some people set out, they want to change billions and billions of people. And I would challenge and say that if you can change one person's perspective of the world, then you changed their world.
Hmm.
And there's no measure of what impact that person can then make on the next person and the next person and the next person. And sometimes all it takes is that one, focusing on being the most present, the most valuable, the most honest and genuine with the one person that you're talking to in that moment. Like
Hmm.
right now, Fabio, it's me and you. There might be other people listening, or there's definitely other people listening, but right now it's me and you, and I'm focused on being the most powerful and impactful for you right here, right now. And if that impacts other people's, if that has a ripple effect, then amazing. But it's focusing on this exact moment because that's all that we really have is right here, right now.
Yeah, and that goes to every situation, right? When you are with your kids, with your spouse, many people say, I want to change the world, and they're doing whatever they can to impress the society around them,
Mhm.
but they're not being the father they could be, the spouse they could be at that moment when they're alone at home with their family, right?
Yeah,
So, what's the point then? So, what's the point if you become a hero to millions, but you become distant to the ones that love you the most? There's no point. So, I really like this. You know, as you said, God has far greater plans for us that we can't even imagine because we're not omnipresent or omniconscious as he is, right? And he's got all the power there is. So if we try to control everything and control the outcome and be the gods of our own world, we are diminishing what we can achieve. Actually, we are belittling our own world. So what we should do is our role is to become the best person we can be, right? The best human being we can be. This we can control, and we should control. We should take responsibility for becoming better and better every day as a person, and of course allow, surrender to God all the other elements that we cannot control, and trust that he will deliver because he will, right? And one thing that I like about what you said about how you were rocking and you were on top of the world, and then you were broken, and then you had to surrender to get out of the hole, right? I believe most people uh, have many people have gone through that, and this is so amazing because when you are broken and you have no option other than surrender to God, and when you start growing again, now you're growing in a different way.
Hmm.
You're building your life, but
Yeah,
now with the humble feeling that you're not alone and you're not the one to be glorified anymore. You're just
yeah.
serving a purpose accompanied by God in your journey. So when you're broken and you surrender and you allow God into your life, you start winning again and building yourself again in your life again, but now in a different way, in a blessed way that will never go away because now you're not alone. Now you have stronger foundations to support your skyscraper.
Exactly. It's building the roots correctly
Yeah.
so that you can sway when things happen in life. You sway with the wind, but you stay rooted. You stay planted in who you are and what you believe. And we see a lot of people that will sacrifice their integrity and their values to please others or to chase outcomes. And it's
And
so
sometimes
much
to impress people they don't even like.
right. Yeah, we what's the thing? Like it's you do things that you don't want to do to impress people that you don't even like. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
To get money you don't even need.
yeah, exactly. Right.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Joe, I wanted to focus now on what you have done lately to fulfill your purpose and to serve people. So let's focus on the practical things you're doing, uh, just for people to understand how you can serve them, right? How you can help them if they want to learn from you, if they want to uh, grow with your help, what are the things that you are doing right now to serve people and to help people find a best way to live?
Yeah, I love that question. And I'll answer that in two ways. I'm going to answer that in a frame of what I've done in the past, but then also what I'm going to be doing in the future. Because I'm actually at a pivotal turning moment now where those things are evolving.
All right.
So in the past, for the past 10 years, I've been doing business consulting. So working with corporations, a lot of Fortune 500 companies to help them streamline their operations and better understand their data so they can make better decisions.
Okay.
And working with a lot of HR offices and finance offices. So the CHROs, the CFOs, and their teams to better understand, well, to set up better processes on the back end of how do they run their business and operate it more efficiently and empower them with better decision-making abilities through better data and analytics so they can make informed decisions about the future of the business. And that process, that journey has been very, very very, very enjoyable and very fruitful. And it's allowed me to see behind the scenes of companies of all different shapes and sizes. You name it, right? And you have a very similar experience, Fabio.
Mm-hmm.
Um, of take you've got one little insurance company that's got 1,000 employees in one location. Okay, the problems that they face are surprisingly very, very similar to a marketing company that has 118,000 employees in 112 countries around the world. The scale is very different. The widget is very different, but at the end of the day, the systems, the processes, and the problems are very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
And this experience, this journey of the consulting in this world has allowed me to see the patterns and the consistencies from one company to another, from one industry to another, and really boil it down and to try to simplify that at the end of the day. Because here's the thing, every company wants to say that they're unique. They all want to say that they're different, right? Oh, nobody does it the way that we do it. It's like it's like maybe the way that you do it is over-engineered and overcomplicated, and that's why nobody else does it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But there's standards and efficiencies that should be adopted behind the scenes to allow any business to run efficiently and smoothly. So I've been able to see behind the scenes, many different companies, how they operate, how they're structured, for better or for worse, and to see the playbook, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
What I decided to do was to take that playbook and try to simplify it and bring it to small business owners, bring it to the local entrepreneurs that are running their own business that don't necessarily have the same experience and the same pool of resources to pull from, but still want to be a successful, fruitful business.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the shift of where I'm going in the future and the present into the future. And what I would also add to that is a reframe on leadership and a reframe on what it is like to be an effective leader. And it goes back to what we've been talking about. This conversation so far is we see a lot of people that are successful in a material sense, but they don't necessarily feel fulfilled or have the right roots. And there's this dialogue or there's this belief out there that you have to choose one or the other. Right? You can't serve two masters. And there's a belief that to be I'll say this, there's a million ways to make $1 million or £1,000,000 or euros or whatever it is. But there's 999,000 of those ways involve selling your soul in some way and compromising your integrity and compromising your belief systems to all the things that we're talking about. So I'm here to empower and inspire and equip leaders to understand that they can make money, but they can do it righteously. You don't have to choose between the two. You don't have to be righteous and sell all your stuff and go live amongst those that are poor or those that don't have anything. You don't have to live with the homeless and be righteous. You can be righteous and build an empire. You can be righteous and lead with integrity. You can be righteous and serve, be a servant leader, not a self-serving leader. And it's okay to do so. In fact, that's what was always intended from the beginning,
Mhm.
right? That's what God has wanted for us this whole time. He wants us to be prosperous. He wants us to have resources so we can steward those resources for the greater good of the people, for the kingdom. And it's okay to do that. And I'm putting together a book and a program to empower and equip leaders to be able to do so properly, to steward their resources, to be a leader for the future, because we're sick of all of these leaders that don't have integrity, right? We see it come out in the news. It's like people are like anxious, right? We see somebody of power and people are like chomping at the bit to try to find something in their past to tear them down, right? And we all have our past. None of us are perfect. We
Yeah.
all have mistakes that we've made, but we can all strive to live a more righteous life. We can all strive to live a more aligned life and to be a better leader for those that are looking up to us. And we can do so without compromising our values, without compromising our integrity. We can steward our resources in a way that helps out the greater population. So I know that was sort of a long-winded answer, and I went a few different directions with that, but it's an interesting position that I'm in because it's a very, very pivotal transitional period that I'm in. And I don't exactly know what the future looks like. Actually, I have a clear vision about what several years into the future look like, but I don't know the path of what it's going to look like to get there. And
Mhm.
that's part of the fun of the journey right now is
Yeah.
letting go of the details and the control of every step in the process, having trust of the end destination, and seeing how things unfold along the way, because that's what life's all about, is enjoying the journey.
Yeah. No, that was a perfect answer, and it proves to everybody listening and watching that you can be fabulous if your foundation is on faith, right? So if we have faith in everything that we have discussed here, that it is possible to be rich and prosperous the right way with righteousness, right? With integrity. You can influence with integrity. You can influence with excellence. You can really live your life with high standards of the kind of person you want to be proud of becoming, right? So imagine everybody's watching. Everybody you love is watching. Not only God, but everybody you love. Imagine that throughout your day, every decision you make, everything you're doing, the people that loves you are watching you, and God is watching you. So how do you want to behave? What kind of person you would be proud of, right? So, and we need actually good people striving and thriving and growing and becoming rich so we can give this example. You don't need to lie to get rich. You don't need to scheme. You don't need to manipulate people. You can become very, very fortunate and rich with integrity. And that will
Mhm.
set the example for others to follow, for next generations to follow. So being successful with integrity is not only a right we have, is an obligation, is our responsibility, because we want to give proof to the ones, the younger ones coming, that it is possible to be successful, fulfilled, and happy with total integrity. So we can build a better society for everybody to live on, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Joe, I want to thank you so much for being here today. Your generosity, your authenticity, your integrity. As I said in the beginning, you are inspiring, and I believe many people watching and listening to this, even if they had different beliefs in the beginning of this interview, hopefully they were humble enough to listen carefully and to learn something from it and maybe change their perspective a little bit. Okay, I'm going to share in the description of the video all the links, for them to reach out to you. Just right.
Yeah,
And for those of you listening now, watching, go to YouTube channel for our talk show. Go to the description of the video, because over there you're going to find all the links to get in touch with Joe if you want to. And if you want to be inspired and at the same time helped, because he knows a lot about business management and can help you, of course, with several struggles and challenges you face running a business and growing a business, Joe has been helping Fortune 500s and small companies, and with total integrity, he can help you become the leader you can be and proud of yourself and being a good example that inspires your children and of course friends around you. So Joe Frigolette, it was a pleasure having you here. Your final words, please, before we wrap this up.
My final words, I would just say, Fabio, I love you, man. All of your listeners, I don't know you, but I love you. I love you all with the love of Christ, and I want nothing but the best for everybody here. And God bless.
All right. Thank you so much. So this is Fabulous with Fabio, interviewing fabulous people to inspire us to be fabulous. Stay tuned because more to come, more fabulous people will be here trying to help us find a better way to live, to grow, and to be. Thank you so much. See you guys soon. Bye.